Why did you choose to become a nurse?
I knew at the age of 12 that I wanted to be a nurse. I had to go to the emergency room because I had a real bad case of tonsillitis. And the nurses and the doctors were so nice to me, and plus they made me feel so much better. And I thought that that was what I wanted to do, and that's all I've ever really wanted to do was to be a nurse.
Which medical school did you attend and why?
I went to Little Rock Vocational School, and the reason that I went, I had graduated from high school. I was married, and I had my son at age 18. And I needed to get into a profession, and I wanted to be a nurse, and I could take the LPN course, and I would be able to take the course and graduate and pass in a year's time.
Okay. Which high school courses prepared you for this profession?
I would say biology was one of the main ones.
Okay. Describe your daily duties.
I worked in labor and delivery for several years of my career, and I was a charge nurse. I was in charge of the labor and delivery, running the labor and delivery floor. I helped with the patients in labor. I helped the doctors in the delivery room. I helped do the surgery when we had cesarean sections or other type of surgeries that was required. And I had a lot of responsibilities.
Okay. What are your working hours and vacation time?
Usually you have to work rotating shifts. When I first started working in the 60s, usually we worked 8-hour shifts, but later on, I'd say it started maybe in the 80s, late 80s and early 90s. A lot of hospitals went to 10-hour shifts. We would work 10-hour shifts 4 days a week. And later, in a couple of years later, they started doing 12-hour shifts. And most of the time, those were done on the weekend. And you could get, you could work 2 to 3 days a week and make full salary. And like I said, the hours vary. They used to have a 7 to 3 shift, a 3 to 11, and 11 to 7, and you'd have to rotate between all three sometimes, unless you was fortunate to get into a clinic job. Vacation times is like most jobs. If you stay on a job over a year, you would get a week's vacation, and if you stayed at most of them 5 years, you would get 2 weeks paid vacation.
Okay. What what was the annual salary for a person working as a nurse?
From $18 to $20 an hour in 2001.
Okay. What are three positive and negative aspects of working as a nurse?
The positive aspects are that you do a lot of good. You you save lives. You see people and help people when they're at their lowest. The negative aspects of it is that it can be very stressful. There can be a lot of stress involved. Then you find yourself getting very close to your patients, and they die or you lose them. So that can be very stressful on you. Those were the two most, and job burnout. Sometime after you do it a long time, you can get burnout on a certain type of nursing.
What were your most difficult courses in high school, college, and medical school?
Algebra, chemistry.
Would you recommend others to enter this profession and why?
I would recommend others to enter the profession because it's a very rewarding profession.
How did you go about investigating a career in the medical related field?
Talked to one of my school counselors, and she told me about the LPM program.
Which science or non-science class did you enjoy the most and why?
I enjoyed biology the most because it just tells you and study about, learn about different things with your body, about, you know, bodies, parts, and makeup.
What are your positive and negative qualities?
My positive qualities is I'm a self-starter. I am very observant. I'm very determined. And I'm nice. My negative qualities, I wear my feeling on my sleeve sometimes. I can be, um, guess I can be impatient with people that I think that's not doing what they should do, or people that's not slack, don't take their responsibilities seriously.
If you were to have done anything differently in your preparation for a medical school, what would it have been?
Nothing.
Explain several qualities that you feel are most important in being a good nurse.
You have to have a love for people. You have to love and taking care of sick people. You have to understand people that's not feeling good, that they can say and do things while they're sick that they really don't mean. You have to be honest, and you need to be dependable.
What concerns you now about medicine?
That the patient seem to be the least important consideration that's been made when it's come to the way they're treated in the hospitals, the new laws they're making, the insurance companies seem to have more say-so about how patients are treated to a certain extent than the doctors.
Who is your greatest source of inspiration in deciding to pursue a medical related career?
The first nurses and doctors that I met when I went to the hospital when I was a little girl.
Who was the best teacher you had in medical school and why?
The best teacher I had was my LPN teacher. Her name was Miss Henson, and Miss Henson expected only the best.
What was the greatest obstacle you had to overcome?
Queasiness.
What role did your parents play in your decision to become a nurse?
Well, my parents were very loving. I came from a Christian background. My mother went back to college after having 8 children and finished and went on to teach school. My daddy was a minister in the AME church, and he also worked as an appliance salesman. So I came from a good family that had a very, very, very good work ethic.
Who are your role models and why?
My mother, my father, and my siblings, and because they all made strides in life that I think are very admirable.
What were your goals when you were a nurse?
My goals were to be the best nurse that I could be, and to learn as much as I could about my field, and to be as good as I could in performing my duties.
What caused your greatest frustrations in life?
So for my life, it's been pretty good. I've lost some siblings and I lost my father. But I guess those were the hardest times in my life.
What recent advances in medicine have occurred that you believe will have the greatest impact on how we practice medicine?
Obamacare, I think, is a very positive thing. It's something that has been needed a long time. I think it needs some changes and some tweaking, but with universal health care is something that's been needed, especially in the poor population. And I think it's the best thing that's happened in recent history.
Do you have any research experience in college, medical school, and what did you learn from this process or about the process?
Well, I've had some research experience in researching topics. In school, we did research with frogs and different things in biology, but it's just basically I learned from, the performing the tasks that we had to perform.
Who are your heroes and why?
My heroes are my parents, my siblings.
What do you see yourself doing 10 to 15 years from now?
10 to 15 years from now, I hope I'm still able to live on my own, be active. I would like to work with children in early childhood, with early childhood development. I would like to get some daycare started at some of the black churches in the neighborhood to help low-income parents and children that need help in reaching certain milestones in their life. And I hope that I hope I will have established several daycare centers by that time.
Okay. If you could become any cell in the human body, which one would you choose and why?
Brain cell, because the brain cells control everything.
What do you do in your spare times? Hobbies?
I go to college. I garden.
Okay. What advice would you give to a high school student wishing to pursue a medical career?
I would advise them to really, really search themselves and make sure that they understand the responsibility and that they truly have a love for humanity, for people. And income, earnings are important, but also being responsible for somebody's health and life can be very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Okay. List 3 issues that are happening in medicine today, and which of the 3 are most important?
There's several issues. People are experiencing major operations on an outpatient basis and are being sent home on their own with very little pain medication and very little knowledge about it and about different side effects. And a lot of people get in trouble. I feel like the insurance companies have more control over a patient's outcome or what happened to them in a lot of cases than the doctor do. And the medical profession seems to be drifting away from making the patient the most important thing to obtain financial gains.
How would the person who knows you best describe you?
They would describe me as a nice person, a direct person, a funny person, and a loving person.
All right. Thank you, Miss Bobbie Robinson. We are done.
Well, good.